What's going on YouTube? So when you want something different besides the everyday Mercedes or BMW, often people look at Alfa Romeo, a prestigious Italian luxury brand. Now, they have just refreshed their main products for 2024, including this Stelvio model. And we've got the mid-level Veloce trim, which starts in the low $50,000 range. But you oftentimes can get big discounts on these. So is this kind of the best kept luxury secret on the market? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So starting off here in the front, let's talk about the design that you get on board. So like I said, this is updated a little bit for 2024, but you still have those signature Alfa Romeo elements because that's the way they are. You wouldn't want to change the signature elements like the three-part grille. So you've got this kind of triangular centerpiece, and then you've got the two outside edges down here on the lower fascia. Everything is quite aggressive, including down here on the lowest part. Now, the big thing, though, that's updated is the headlight arrangement. So previously, it was not too fancy of an arrangement, but now we've gone to a full LED adaptive headlight. And as you can see, you also have the three-part design with your daytime running light and turn signal indicators. Now, in terms of your wheels, there are various finishes that you can get and different sizes across the lineup. The Veloce is going to come standard with 20-inch alloys. However, we have the optional 21-inch alloys with that signature Alfa Romeo design and the gloss black finish. Now, this trim also is going to include the nice-looking red brake calipers, which are very visible in between the spokes, so it looks super nice. You also have a gloss black finish around the outside of the wheel arches. You have the branding right there. The mirrors are going to be gloss black up here at the top, and they're going to come loaded with all the features. So that's going to include blind spot monitoring, heating, power folding, as well as auto dimming.
Now here at the side, you're going to see that very sporty look for an SUV. And as far as the overall vehicle length, it's 184.6 inches long. We also are going to have roof rails up top. And this particular model, since we have the panoramic moonroof, does have the black finish to the roof, which I think really spices up the overall design. Now, as we head around to the rear design of the Stelvio, like Drew said, we have seen some updates for 2024. So they're not going to be massive design changes. However, they are going to just overall spice up the design. So let's break down what you're going to get. We have a pretty sloped off piece of glass here, a spoiler up top, exposed rear wiper. We have a Alfa Romeo branding. And then as far as our taillights are concerned, these are going to be full length or full LED taillights. So we have an LED brake light, LED turn signal, and reverse light, and we also have kind of like a clear finish, which I quite like. Now, as we drop down to this lower diffuser area, this is where you really see a lot of the beautiful design touches that Alfa Romeo gives you. So all of this is finished in piano black. You have this very aggressive piece right here. You're also going to get integrated dual exposed exhaust outlets. So I really like that in a segment where the vast majority of competition really doesn't include any exhaust outlets. You're getting integrated dual exhaust. As far as your tow rating, it's rated at 3,000 pounds. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, Alfa Romeo is going to give you 3 out of 4 active safety features as standard equipment on the Stelvio. Additionally, for I think about $700, you can get the Plus package, which further adds in even more features like your lane keeping assist. But guys, let's go ahead and dive into the inside and see what you get for that price tag. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's move on to the inside. Before we get inside, here's the key fob. As you can see, just a simple design to this with the Alfa Romeo branding. You do have remote start on board as well as standard smart entry. So you can just reach behind the handle and that will unlock the door. Now, taking a look inside the interior, we do have some nice upgrades for 2024, which I'll talk about in just a second, since they're mostly related to technology. But first, let's talk about the seats. So with the Veloce trim, you are going to get real leather on board. And not just that, you're also going to get the sport seats. As you can see, these have very aggressive bolsters that stick out quite a bit on the top and the bottom, and they really hold you in place very nicely. I like the design as well with the stitching details and the perforation down the middle, as well as our branding up there in the headrest. As far as the levels of adjustment, you do have 14 ways of adjustment on board. With this trim, you also have memory seats and a manual thigh extension. But let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, and now that we're inside, let's look at the overall materials. So starting out over here with our door trim, we have a nice leather pad for your arm to rest against, leather through the center section, a genuine textured aluminum through here, and then on the top part of the door trim, we've got a full leather covering. That's also going to continue on the top of the dashboard as well, and this is an optional feature that you can add. Now down below, more of this real aluminum running through there, and you have soft materials on your lower panels, including right here for your knee to bump against, and a lot of aluminum in the center section. Now, of course, this is an Alfa Romeo, so we have a little bit more theater with the startup sequence. It's not over here, but our push button start is actually located here on the steering wheel itself. Now once we fire it up, you're going to immediately notice a big tech improvement if you've ever been in a Stelvio before, and that's right here with our gauge cluster. So if you look closely, even though this outside surround is the same, we now have a full digital cluster in the middle. This is 12.3 inches. It's high resolution, it has very nice graphics. You can actually reconfigure a lot of the things inside of the display itself, and overall, it's a really nice display. That I certainly enjoy having the entry and exit animations as well. We don't have a head-up display on board, but as far as the steering wheel is concerned, really nice look to this. I love that you have the bolsters here for a nice grip with the perforated leather. It feels super nice. It is flat bottom. And of course, let's just go ahead and mention these gigantic column-mounted paddle shifters. These things are huge. They're made of real metal and they feel fantastic to use. Now the wheel itself is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. We also have steering wheel heating on board. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about interior storage. Even though this is a sporty SUV, we still have plenty of it. So inside, you'll notice that we have a decent amount of space here. We could fit probably a couple donuts in there, but right now we just have our sunglasses and things. Wireless phone charging, though, I do want to point out, is a standard feature on all Stelvio models, no matter which trim you choose. And then you're still going to have some additional storage up here with our 2 cup holders, and you have the little slot where you can stick your key fob if you don't like to keep that in your pocket. Now, in terms of the shifter, we have a nice leather wrapping on this electronic shifter. Operation super simple, just pull back for drive, bump over here to the M if you want to use those paddle shifters I was talking about earlier, and then press all the way up to go into reverse. Now, when we go into reverse, you're going to see this backup camera up here. There's actually not any other option besides for this. So no 360 offering on any version of the Stelvio. And as you can see, it is very tiny and also low resolution, but you do have active trajectory as well as front and rear parking sensors at least. Now, press the P on top there for park. You also have an electronic parking brake located right next to that. And then behind that, this is where you're going to find your DNA controller. So this is Alfa Romeo's version of a drive controller. So if you go up to D, for example, that will put you in a dynamic sport mode. We'll talk more about that stuff as we go through the test drive. We also have a nice knob here which can control the infotainment system, even though it is a touchscreen as well. And then we've got our volume knob located on the passenger side. So in terms of what you're going to have available, we have the optional Harman Kardon upgrade on this Stelvio Veloce. And let's go ahead and give it a sample right now. Yeah, so overall, sound quality is quite good. Certainly fills up the cabin nicely and sounds pretty balanced overall. All right, so let's get into our main infotainment display. So I think one of the things that is maybe a little unfortunate is that for 2024, this part of the technology was not upgraded like the gauge cluster. So this continues to be an 8.8-inch display. It's not so much the size that's an issue, it's just that, as you can probably tell just by looking at it, it's a lot crunchier. This is definitely a much older style display. The overall resolution is not great, and the infotainment software is going to be a little bit outdated compared to other vehicles within the Stellantis portfolio, which have moved to Uconnect 5.0 instead. And by the way, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay do run through a wired connection. Now, I almost forgot the fact that we do have our climate controls down here, standard dual zone automatic. And of course, I do like the fact that we're using physical knobs and buttons here. We don't have to go through the touch display to make any types of adjustments. Heated seats are going to be standard equipment on every single Stelvio. Ventilated seats are not available though, so keep that in mind. Up top here, we've got an auto-dimming mirror. We have HomeLink remotes, which are going to be built into the visor itself. And then up top, you'll notice that we have a panoramic sunroof. This is an available feature on the Stelvio model. The glass is quite large, as you can tell, and we do have a power sunshade.
Now let's talk about the rear seat area of this Stelvio. Now, when you hop back here, you're going to immediately notice that you have a pretty decent amount of space. Now, as far as what Alfa Romeo has provided in terms of legroom, they're saying about 31.9 inches of legroom. That seems definitely on the small side to me in terms of specs. However, they are saying about 39 inches of headroom, which that sounds about right, which is one of the reasons why here at Car Confections we bring our own ruler so we can see how much knee room there is with the seat adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9" for reference, and I'm sitting at, I think, a very class competitive 6 inches of additional knee room. So you're not going to have too many issues when it comes to space, and my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. Now, I do want to point out when it comes to the seat itself, it does not recline, so do keep that in mind. Now, as far as features are concerned, here in the center we do have vents. I like that it's kind of on the ball joint, so you can kind of just bend it any direction that you want your air to go. And then dropping below that, we also have 2 charging USB ports and heated rear seats. That's actually a standard feature, so I really like to see that here on the Stelvio. And we also have a little storage cubby down below that. Now, if we fold down the center armrest, there's 2 cup holders inside. And then checking out your door trim, since we do have that optional package, we have a full leather upper part of the door trim, very nice feeling. And then down below we have some leatherette. And then in the very bottom we have some bottle storage. Unfortunately, I do not think it would fit a Stanley water bottle. We are traveling today, so I couldn't bring my water bottle with me to show you, but I'm pretty sure it would fit a regular size water bottle there. Now, we also have a standard hands-free power tailgate, so you can just use the button like that or kick under the trunk lid area, and then it will open up. As far as this space is concerned, we do have quite a decent amount of space for this segment of vehicle. About 18 cubic feet is what they say you can fit behind the second row of seats, which is behind some of those rivals, I assume because the roof is very sloped off for that stylish design. However, if you reach up and use these little levers to fold the seats, which, by the way, they do fold 40-20-40 split folding, which is another premium feature that I do like, you're going to have a maximum of 57 cubic feet. That puts it very much in line with those German rivals like BMW X3, Mercedes-Benz GLC as well. So you're going to have a good amount of space. Now, here at Car Confections, one of the things we like to do is get those measurements from behind the driver's seat to the end of the cargo area, so you can know if you're looking to haul something specific. And we are looking at an overall cargo length figure of 72 inches. Behind the second row of seats, we are sitting at about 39.5 inches. And then as far as the cargo opening, it's going to be a little bit more narrow at 40 inches. And the cargo height is also going to come in at around 28 inches overall. Now, if we lift up the cargo floor, you are not going to find a spare tire. However, you will find a fix-a-flat kit in there, and we also have some outlets here on the left sides. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio. In this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our signature sound level reading. But one of the brightest elements about this vehicle is its drive experience. So let's go ahead and dive into that.
So that was going up to 60 miles per hour. Once the turbo kicked in, she scoots pretty good. So this has the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, as you could probably hear. Power on this is 280 horsepower, 306 pound-feet of torque, which is certainly adequate for a crossover of this size. And like you said, especially the torque, I really felt that once the turbo spooled, it pushed you back in your seat and took off pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, typically when you get in this luxury compact SUV segment, they have around that 280 to 300 horsepower figure, but a lot of them don't have over 300 pound-feet of torque. So I think that's really the thing you'll notice the most when you compare it to those rivals is the torque figure. It really does push you back in your seat and have a nice feel to it for sure. I'll also add to it, I don't think the 2-liter turbo sounds unrefined or anything. I think it sounds pretty refined even under hard acceleration.
Yeah, it's not very loud or anything. It, like you said, pretty refined is a good way to describe it. Very nice. So I just twisted the DNA controller to D for dynamic, and that obviously is just going to dial everything up more in terms of the systems of this vehicle. I think a lot of people are going to be driving in the dynamic mode with this, because that's a big reason why you choose an Alfa Romeo to start with, is because you want that driving performance, you want the emphasis on performance, and I think they have just done a fantastic job here. This is a really enjoyable vehicle to drive. We had the opportunity to drive it for a bit heading out here to where we were filming, and we've quite enjoyed it so far. And obviously this road is like extremely straight right now, but I do want to talk about the steering as we go around this corner up here coming up. It is very, very well done. So first of all, super responsive. So as you can see, as soon as you turn off center just a little bit, you get that immediate response. It's also nicely weighted. It has this pleasant heft to it that feels very easy to place exactly where you want it on the road. And then the other thing to note is that you have very little body roll. So this is a well-controlled vehicle. So even as you go around corners pretty quickly, you still get that nice flat cornering.
Now, if ultimate performance is your mission, they do still offer the Quadrifoglio, which is an absolute beast. That has a 2.9-liter twin-turbo V6, 505 horsepower. We did actually have the privilege of driving one of those around, I believe, late last year, and it's a very, very nice powertrain experience. It's one of those powertrain experiences that just feels very special, so if you want to spend the extra bucks to get that, certainly would recommend getting it, but this base powertrain setup is going to be more than adequate for the vast majority of people.
Now, let's talk about the transmission. So this is an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. Performance on this is quite good. It is very snappy. I'll also go into the manual mode here so we can kind of show off some of the shifts. Oh yeah, nice response on those paddles.
You gotta use those paddles because they give them to you.
Yeah, those are very quick and very snappy shifts, almost kind of dual clutch-like in the overall performance. So again, just really matches with the character of this vehicle. You knew as soon as you see the big paddle shifters that this is made to do that.
Now, you do also have standard all-wheel drive on all the trim levels besides for the base Sprint version, which can get rear-wheel drive. And that also means in terms of your fuel economy, you're either sitting at 24 miles a gallon combined with all-wheel drive or 25 mpg with rear drive, for the base Sprint version. Now, we do also want to take a second here to talk about ride quality, now that we're just kind of cruising along on a highway stretch here. Here with the Stelvio, I do want to point out this is a pretty sporty SUV. So you're going to feel that when you talk about your ride quality. We have large 21-inch alloy wheels on this model, so this is not going to be like an Audi Q5 level of comfort, that's for sure. You're certainly going to feel some of those bumps come into the cabin. I honestly think that's what makes this vehicle more unique, though, because it does have that sporty character that's very uncommon in this segment. That's not to say the ride quality is harsh or bad, per se. It's just definitely on the sportier side, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there's also an available adaptive suspension system that you can
That's standard
option on.
Competizione,
Yeah. And that just gives you a little bit more variability between, being in dynamic mode and being more firm, being in your comfort mode, and, being more comfortable.
All right, and let's speed up to 55 miles per hour to get our sound level reading. Fan speed's on 1. 59.4 decibels is our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. Now, unfortunately, we are here in Detroit, so as you can see there are some rougher roads, that is for sure. This was actually the last time we tested out the Stelvio. It was also in Detroit, so hopefully at some point we'll be able to get one of these back home in Kentucky to get you the official sound level reading, but until then, 59.4 is our sound level reading. And if you want to learn more about our sound level readings, as well as how this vehicle compares to all of the competition, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. On our website, we posted all the vehicles that we have reviewed on this channel, which I promise you is a lot of different vehicles, so you won't want to miss out on that. So go to our website and check that out. All right, and let's also do our airball and slam dunk. So that's going to be our favorite element, our least favorite element. Drew, do you want to kick us off with the slam dunk?
Yeah, so the slam dunk is definitely the driving dynamics. Now, previously, we had tested out the Quadrifoglio and then the Competizione. This is the lowest end version, much more affordable trim level. And still the same, just very nice athleticism carries on. And I'm happy to see that. We wanted to know, would it still feel fun to drive in a lower trim level? And the answer is certainly yes.
And as far as the airball is concerned, I believe this was our airball before, but we really wish they had done something with the technology here in the main infotainment. They updated the gauge cluster, which is a very nice update, but the main infotainment, really, really small, kind of dim, and not having wireless abilities is something that a lot of people, especially luxury buyers, are going to want. So hopefully that doesn't hinder their sales too much in terms of the technology, but when it comes to that, we really wish they had maybe updated that a little bit more. And lastly, I do want to point out your warranty is going to be a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic and powertrain warranty. There is no complimentary maintenance. Now let's talk pricing for the Stelvio. So you can get a Stelvio as low as $45,375 for the Sprint model. Of course, as you go up the trim structure, it gets more expensive. The Competizione is $58,000, and then the Quadrifoglio is $87,000. Now, what we have today is the Veloce trim level, which is one of the more mid-level options. We start around $49,000. With all of the options that you can get on this model, $58,455 is where we're sitting at today. And like we said at the introduction, keep in mind that this is a vehicle that typically is discounted at some dealership locations. So if you shop around, you may be able to get a better deal than what you would expect from the Stelvio model, and much less than some of the German rivals, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. And if you're looking to buy one, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes because on our website we have a tool that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this in-depth review of the refreshed 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decision, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you give us access to more vehicles like this where we can come up to Detroit and sample out this Alfa Romeo Stelvio, so please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.